Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cricketing Hour. We're joined today by a very special guest, Raiyan and Haque. Raiyan is currently pursuing studies in medicine. He's a graduate from Dow University, one of the leading medical colleges in Pakistan. He served as the editorial lead for grassroots cricket for, I think, 4 years now, 2020 to 2024. He's then served as the data analyst for the Quetta Gladiators franchise in the Pakistan Super League, who with Raiyan's support have just had their most successful season in 5 years. Raiyan also runs a very nice cricket page on Twitter titled Cricket 2. Do check him out. He has more than 7,000 followers. Welcome, Raiyan, to the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hey, Hasan. Pretty good. Yeah.
All right. So, Raiyan, it looks like you might be doing good, but the Pakistani team as of late has not been doing that good. So, we know the Champions Cup is happening. In fact, as we're speaking, there's a game currently going on. I think it's the Panthers versus the Dolphins tonight. But let's first talk about this Bangladesh debacle that's just happened. What are your closing thoughts on the series?
So yeah, man, to be fair, Bangladesh played incredibly well. All credit to them. Their fast bowling attack has come a long way from what it was at one point.
Yeah.
Uh, it's really more of a commentary on how the lesser test teams have gotten a lot much better over the years, and it's that's actually very nice to see in cricket. So I first of all full credit to them. Apart from that, Pakistan, see, it gets annoying telling people, "Oh, it's Pakistan," and like when you tell someone who's not Pakistani that oh, Pakistan lost to Bangladesh. They're like, oh, classic Pakistan losing to lesser teams, like supposedly lesser teams, and then they managed to beat a bigger team on that day, and it's like, oh, they're so unpredictable, blah blah blah, and you when you're a casual fan and whatever, you say, okay, that's cool. There's a team, they're kind of a wild card. That's cool to have. But when you're actually a fan of that team, it gets annoying to at
That's
a
very
certain
true.
point.
I just think it's interesting you called Pakistan unpredictable because the problem is, as of late, they have been very predictable. Since
Yeah.
2021, they have not managed to win a single test match at home. Forget a series, not even a single match. And with Shan Masood's captaincy, he's captained 5 tests. He's been extremely consistent, extremely predictable. He's lost every single one of them. So, what is going on, and what are some of the key factors you think were to blame for Pakistan's loss to Bangladesh?
Since you mentioned the home test, not winning a test at home, so I first try to address that first, and then we'll move to Bangladesh. So, see, um, Pakistan's home for a very long time was the UAE, as you know, and then we moved back to Pakistan around 2019-20.
Yeah, more
And
or
the
less.
thing is, yeah, so uh, the thing is that Pakistan's people don't really remember what it was like when Pakistan actually played at home.
True.
It's because you know these days we've had the World Test Championship and everything, and every Test match has a lot more value because of the World Test Championship, at least in people's minds. And as the game has gone
Which
on, we've
Pakistan,
got
by the way, is currently
yeah.
ranked second last in. It's just abysmal.
So as you go on, cricket has progressed, we've gone a lot away from like draws in general. Like I think the draw in Abidjan recently, who that was the first draw in like 1 year. So it does happen that when you progress away, and obviously that's very nice to see that results are in draws are typically seen as boring most of the time. But Pakistan in general always had a lot of draws in their test cricket
Flat pitches.
at home because the pitches were just flat, man. Like they were flat pitches. There wasn't anything in them for anybody. And it's funny when you look at the way Pakistan would win test matches at home. was the way any other team wins test matches at home. They would use the conditions to their advantage, that them knowing the conditions better than the other teams. Like supposing if you go to Australia, then their batsmen are better suited to playing the bouncy condition. Their bowlers are more suited to bowling those longer spells and being consistent in their lines and ends. And that's why they have a distinct advantage of playing at home. Similarly with India and England and etc., Sri Lanka, whatever. So everybody has the way, like they're adapted to their own home conditions, in the sense that you have players playing domestic cricket who can sometimes just be ballooned in for a test series and do perfectly fine because they've been playing on those pitches for the last 10 years. Like if
Jan,
you
I'm just
take
going to cut
any,
you off
yeah,
there because
yeah.
there's a couple points I just want to have a back and forth with
Mhm.
you about. First of all, obviously, every team in Test cricket uses home advantage to their favor. That's not a surprise at all. The thing with Pakistan is there's a couple of things. Firstly, you mentioned we had flat pitches back in the day. That's what Ramiz Raja tried. When Australia came, when England played, we had the flattest pitches in the world. Imamul Haq, of all people, was notching up twin centuries in a Test match against a bowling lineup comprising Pat Cummins and Josh Hazlewood. If that's not an indication of how flat those pitches were, I don't know what else will be. But what sort of conditions can there possibly be which will favor this current Pakistani side that is not able to play pace when it's Naheed Rana of all bowlers who is bowling? They're not able to play any form of spin. They don't have a good spinner in their arsenal at the moment. For example, you look at the spinners we've played in the last 3 4 years. The names are Noman Ali, Sajid Khan, there's Abrar Ahmed, who's been a little bit consistent. Salman Agha is what can we consider him our main spinner now? So the post Yasir Shah decline in Pakistan's spin arsenal means that we can't rely on spinners. We can't rely on our pace attack either, it seems, because although we have the likes of Shaheen and Naseem, you didn't play them in the second test. In fact, Pakistan, the land of pace bowling, the land which has produced Imran Khan, Waqar Yunus, the Sultan of Swing, Sarfraz Nawaz, the inventor of reverse swing. In the second test against Bangladesh, we fielded a pace attack of three bowlers who had a combined total of just 22 wickets between them. Mir Hamza, Muhammad Ali, and Khurram Shahzad. And however bad Shaheen Afridi is performing, I don't think there's any world in which I would drop Shaheen Afridi for Muhammad Ali. To me, it's a baffling decision. I don't know how anyone could make that decision, whether it's just to send a message to Shaheen or what the goal was. But A, what sort of conditions can there be to assist this current Pakistani side, which doesn't have a good spin attack or a pace bowling attack? And B, Pakistan had their chances to win both the test matches. Why couldn't they convert? What are your
Yeah. So on the point, what Pakistan can do to adapt to their home conditions, that's a problem because they're just not a very good test team. It's just, I think people have to accept that they're not a very good test team, so they don't have conditions that specifically suit them. So every match is a battle for them to win a
Are
game.
they not still a better
And
team than Bangladesh, though? That's the question.
but
I think on
see,
paper
because
they
they
should
don't
be.
have
On paper, you
conditions
compare
that
the players.
specifically suit them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think like Bangladesh is really a better team than Pakistan if you're going to frame it that way?
See, I feel the 11 that Bangladesh in the second test, I think Bangladesh was the better team in because obviously Pakistan just refused to play their best players. So, when
Yeah,
that
fair enough.
happens, then but that's another thing. Like that's a separate point. But the point I was making with the domestic cricket is that because Pakistan's domestic cricket doesn't have the kind of performers that can just be ballooned in to replace the incumbent players if there needs to be a replacement, that these guys like Khurram Shahzad and Mir Hamza, they for a very long time in Pakistan's domestic cricket, I don't know if you know this, but the pitches that used to be were the more of the green and dew ball pitches.
Yeah,
And that is
steaming,
where
steaming all the time.
yeah, so that's where all of these guys learned how to bowl. And then in the past 3 years or so, since 2020, when the first system change came around, we had much flatter pitches then. And for a time, especially in the England series, what we saw was that we had no bowlers. We brought Mohammad Ali and we played Zaif Mahmood as well. But there weren't any bowlers that could say that, oh, we could say that, oh, these guys know how to bowl on these pitches because the pitches were as alien to them as they were to the English players playing because they hadn't played on these pitches
Yeah,
regularly. So they couldn't give you that like significant advantage of experience anyway. Like even if they don't have the skills to say that, okay, they it's skill wise they're much better. Experience still counts for something, but they did not even have the experience to say that okay, we know how to bowl on these pitches, we know how to bowl dry, etc. But because the pitches have been flat for now around 4 years or so, and hopefully they remain that way, that's a separate common conversation. But now we do have bowlers who can bowl relatively dry. Mir Hamza has come a long way from what he was in 2016, bowling on these green pitches, to now he's very at least disciplined to hold the batsman to his line, to his
yeah.
crease. Khurram Shahzad has progressed bowling on those 2020 onward
Yeah, we
pitches.
saw his six
Ahmed
wicket haul.
yeah. And Ahmed Jamal also knows how to bowl those long spells because he's been bowling on those pitches. The trouble is that in the England series, the problem was that England and New Zealand series in 2022, the problem was that you had Shaheen injured, then you had Naseem injured, and you needed to replace them with these guys from domestic cricket who found the pitches as alien to them as it was to the visiting party. And then in 2024, when you had Shaheen available and Naseem available, but you had these guys who can complement Shaheen and Naseem, you decided that they were apparently better than Shaheen and Naseem, and you just replaced them completely.
It's a
Which
baffling
this
decision. It's one I simply cannot understand. And you just mentioned the England series. England are going to be coming back in October. So quickly, Ryan, what is going to be your pace attack for those three tests against England?
Shaheen, Naseem, Ahmed Jamal, and if we go with a fourth, then maybe Khurram. But
Do you
yeah.
think any spinner will play apart from Salman Akbar?
Uh, Abrar will play definitely in Multan at least.
Yeah.
Um, Pindi might be touch and go for him.
I think if the Pindi
Scheduling
pitch
is
is
such, we don't
ideally,
actually know how many matches we're playing in Pindi.
that's
I
true.
keep hearing one or two. So let's
I
see.
do think, Ryan, if the Pindi pitch plays the way it played against Bangladesh, then a spinner, then you can't play without a spinner because in this series, the damage Shakib inflicted, the damage Mehdi Hassan Miraz inflicted, I think you will need
Yeah, but
one
how
pitch.
much was that down to our batsmen and their bowling? Because um,
That's a conundrum.
see, so the thing is that with spinners and people keep bemoaning the lack of spinners and etc. The thing is that your current best option is Abrar.
Yeah.
And Abrar is quite young right now. He needs to, he's like, Abrar came into the system around, like properly around 2021 or 2020. 2020 or 2021. I'm not recalling correctly, but it was one of them. And he came in from second 11. He was taking so many wickets in second 11. And because he was taking so many wickets in second 11, but PCB and all their you know PCB-ness, they were using a
Weaknesses.
different ball for second 11 and a different ball for first 11. So everybody, he would be taking wickets in for second 11, but everybody would be like, "Ye ball ka kamal hai," whatever that means. Anyway, so then he came into first 11 around 2020, I think it was actually, yeah, in 2021. Anyway, he came in first 11 and he didn't do very well to start with because everybody was like, oh, he's having trouble gripping the ball and oh, the pitches are obviously
Yeah, he
flatter,
took a seven
etc.
for on debut, I think it was. It doesn't get much
Uh,
better than that.
no, I'm talking about the first class cricket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So around 2021-20, he started playing first class cricket, first 11 for Sid, and he wasn't doing too well. Around 2022, though, he got the hang of it, and that's when he had a really good season that got him selected into the test team. So that the guy, the guy came from second 11 to the test team in over like 2, 3 years. So there's definitely, and there was a dip in between. So he can get better. That's a thing people are supposed to be allowed to develop over time. I don't know why this is an alien concept for Pakistan cricket in general, than development of players. But uh, the point is that you can't have a ready-made test spinner is very hard to find, especially with your current domestic system, which for a very long time, since the whole green pitches era, uh, the teams weren't incentivized to play good spinners.
Yeah,
They were
that's very true.
incentivized to play left-arm spinners who can like get the right-handed batsman out
Credit to Abrar for
because of
still
their
managing
angle.
to get through in spite of the system and manage to make some sort of a name for himself. I think we've crucified the bowling lineup quite a bit. Let's turn our attention to the batting lineup because they're not innocent either. So the second test is, in my opinion, the more heartbreaking of the two for two reasons. The first of them is obviously 26 for 6. How you lose a test match from 26 for 6 when you've scored 270 plus in the first innings is I don't think I think enough words have been written and said about that already. But what's interesting is that despite all of that, Pakistan still managed to get a first innings lead, a very slender lead, 10 or 12. But regardless of that, in Test cricket, if you have a first innings lead, you are not out of the game. Pakistan, after the first two innings were done, they had a slight advantage. They could have converted that. But if you looked at the faces of the players, they looked done. They looked like they had lost the match already. They were ready to go home. And in the third innings of the game, they were bundled out for what, 150? I don't even remember how much we got. Nobody, I think Agha got a few runs at the end. This happened in the first test match as well. In the first test match, the first innings, we got 400 odd declared, looking great. Perhaps we can force a win. Bangladesh surprised us. They took the lead. And then we collapsed in the third innings. So I don't know why this third innings is turning out to be such a bogey point for Pakistan. There's no direct reason for it to be the case. Is it that our batsmen can't cope with the pressure? Are they just not being able to handle batting collapses? If you look at our top seven, and our top seven, if there's at least one silver lining, it's that it's been relatively stable this year. You've had Abdullah Shafiq, Shan Masood, Saim Ayub, Babar, Saud Shakil, Rizwan, and Salman. More or less these seven players without too many changes. Five of the top seven are averaging above 40. How much of that is due to our flat pitches can be debated, but Babar, Shakil, Rizwan, Salman, they've all been having great seasons. Abdullah, of course, he had such a good time in Sri Lanka. He scored one double century. Last year, he scored the 160 when we chased down 344 in the final innings. The problem comes with Shan Masood and Saim Ayub, both of whom are averaging 28. The difference being one has played for more than a decade, the other has played for just 1 year, but the average in any case is not acceptable. What's the solution to this batting lineup? Is it time to give Mohammad Huraira a go? Is it time to recall Sarfaraz, who had a pretty good go in the New Zealand series? He was the player of the tournament. I don't know where he vanished after that. So, anything about the batting?
So currently, your batting is very dependent on three players who are currently in form. Saud, Agha, Rizwan. Your top four is basically not contributing anything,
I'm
and
going
your
to do a
bottom four.
small plug-in for your Twitter page, Ryan. I'm reading out one of your tweets. You wrote that since November 2023, Pakistan's top four have been averaging 21, which is the same as Sri Lanka's bottom four in the same time period. That
Yeah.
tells a story, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, that's basically the point. Like, look, Abdullah is a great player, and I really like the way he plays. And I do feel that he's bought in a bit too much to what the way Pakistan wanted to play at one point in time, especially in Sri Lanka, where they were looking to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, the new
And
Pakistan way, as
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
the
branded to us.
Pakistan way, which
Insecurity for
has
the bad ball.
Yeah, no, everything that Pakistan does, they have a idea and then they just don't wholeheartedly commit to anything because obviously it was one guy's idea and the other guy is for that guy is forcing them to do it. So for a time they were like, okay, let's do this. And then the moment they feel the pressure off, they revert to factory settings. So see, if Pakistan wanted to fully buy into the whole baseball thing, they could have, but they never gonna because it's just too high risky for them, and some of the players don't want to do it that way, and that's fine
Yeah,
too.
Shan Masood is
But
not Ollie Pope. Neither is Salman
well,
Agha.
I mean, Ollie Pope isn't doing very well either, so
Well, he's just got 150 in the last innings. Shan Masood, unfortunately, is a tier below
and
that as well at the
hasn't
moment.
got 150 ever. Anyway, so yeah, so the thing is that Abdullah, I feel, is a bit. I think he just needs to get through this phase, and Pakistan, for once, I hope, do back a player who's going through a bit of a difficult time in
Yeah,
like his
absolutely.
batting, and because you know Pakistan don't have a lot of options, especially when it comes to test openers. I know that everybody wants Herrera right now, but once Herrera comes and disappoints because
If you
Pakistan
read the
isn't.
articles about Herrera now and you compare them to the articles about Shafiq 3 years ago, you will find sentences that are word for word the same.
Yeah, because the Pakistan cricket loves to do that. They
Yeah,
love to find the next big thing, and then the next big thing, and then the next big thing, and it just keeps going from there. It's a
it's an infinite
tumbling hill.
famous
Yeah.
paradox.
Anyway,
You mentioned Shan's
but
struggles as
yeah,
well.
Shah is Saib on the other hand was the next big thing too. But
I think Shan,
every
Saim, for me at least, is more of a white ball next big thing. I don't really see him continuing in the red ball setup too long.
so the thing is that Pakistan can't be too picky in the sense that, see, in Australia, you usually find players who are good players of pace
Yeah.
in most teams because it's with the condition
Random
you can't
bounce.
survive there. You can't survive there if you can't play good pace and like bouncy pitches. Uh, and I, for some reason, not for some reason, but in general, from what has been observed, is that if you want to ask for anything in your player, you ask for a good pace game. See, because spin can be learned to a certain degree, at least playing spin, not maybe attacking spin, but learning how to play spin, a player can do over like a 5, 6 year career. But learning how to play pace, that never works. Okay,
That's
uh,
very true.
the, because that's more of a reflexes, etc. thing. It's more of natural ingrained talent. You can't get significantly better. Sure, you
Yeah,
can
and if
like,
you look at the
yeah,
sheer number of pace overs that are bowled in any test
yeah,
matches, would
exactly.
far outnumber the
So
number of spin overs.
exactly. So when Pakistan do find players who are good players of pace bowling and bounce in general, they should be identified and invested in for sure. Like, and Abdullah and Saim are two perfect examples of this. They're both excellent play. Like they're one of the best players of pace in the country. I don't think so. Anyone can name five better players of pace than them.
That's true.
And thus, uh, they're in the test top seven because there aren't five better players than them. So, as obviously, then they deserve to be in the test team.
Yeah, I think the problem
Naturally,
is just that one wonders Saim, okay, he can be in the best seven of Pakistan, but would Saim be in the top seven of any other top five team in Test cricket? I don't think so.
uh, I think he could make a few, but that's besides the point. The point is that he's Pakistani, so unfortunately, Pakistan have to are stuck with it.
Pakistan, I'm
So,
definitely,
um,
they don't have much of a choice there. What they do have a choice in, however, is the matter of their captain. Because, like Saim Ayub, Shan is averaging the same. However, being a captain has its added pressure, it has the added scrutiny. I don't think he's been able to live up that to that scrutiny. Will Sean be captaining the England series next month? Do you think he can survive and hold out?
Added pressure and captaincy and everything, but he's averaging the same as a player as he did as a captain. It seems to be like his anyway.
Ryan, I'm sorry you lagged.
Shan,
Do you think Sean will
yeah,
still be the captain come October?
yeah. No, I said that it's funny that but he's averaging the same as a player as he did as captain as he did as a player.
Yeah, that's
So
true. No
anyway,
improvement,
um,
no no
so
downside either.
see, I do feel Sean is a much better player than he was in 2013. I'll give him that. He has brought in a lot to the whole baseball situation, which I do not think is ideal for a test number three. If I had it my way, I would ask Abdullah to return to his factory setting of that 40 strike rate batsman that he did come in as, and just place him at three. Just tell him, look, you don't have to play the new ball because he does have a real problem with movement first up, especially because he's going through his rough time period. He always had a problem. Like, I'm not saying that's a problem that has developed. He, even when he came the first time, he did have a problem versus the ball coming in, which is fine. See, there's gonna be some hill where you're going to die. You just need to delay your death, basically, in Test cricket. That's the
Absolutely.
point. So if Shan wants to play that way, then that's fine with me. But I do not like my test number three playing like that, because it means that with an already unstable opening partnership, if my test number three is going to throw caution to the wind, then that means my number four, five, and six, who and seven, who are anyway contributing like 50% runs of the team, are coming in way too early and are in danger of being dismissed as well. So ideally, one change that I would have liked was that maybe Shan comes in as opener and Abdullah drops to three. Shan can play however he wants, and it'll be fine because your openers aren't contributing so much. So if he does it
Yeah.
anyway, but but you were asking about Shan in general, that whether he'll captain the England series. I think he will. But the England series, if he does not win, might be the last three captains.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that, Ryan. I think Shan Masood personally has captained his final match already in Test cricket. Because if there's one thing the PCB currently likes more than losing home Test matches, apparently, it is changing captains. They have done it non-stop. In fact, if we have a quick summary here, Babar Azam was the skipper of all formats until the 2023 World Cup, which now seems like an age ago. After that, Sean took the red ball captaincy, Shaheen took the white ball captaincy. Shaheen, funnily enough, never got to captain a single ODI game because after one T20 series against New Zealand, he was instantly sacked.
You know,
Babar,
it's funny,
yeah, yeah,
when PCB announced Shaheen as captain, the graphics department, they put out Shaheen limited overs captain. And then that tweet was deleted 5 minutes
yeah.
later, and it said Shaheen, T20 captain,
I
ODI
think
captain to be decided later.
I think it's because we weren't playing an ODI for so long,
Yes.
but it's never the message you want to send out. This confusion, I mean, I'm sure this little graphic change they had reflects some indecision that the selectors would have been having while making this decision. Weren't able to finalize it in enough time. Babar came back, had a horrible T20 World Cup, which we'll actually discuss in a couple of moments. And Shan, of course, has not been having a fantastic time either. I don't think Shan Masood is going to survive losing five test matches on the trot, having the worst start ever for any captain in Pakistan cricket history. The question, of course, is if it's irrelevant whether I say he's going to be sacked now or whether you think he's going to be sacked after the England series. If Shan Masood is removed as
Because you
captain,
just assumed that we'll lose the England series.
I mean, I am still traumatized by the last England Pakistan Test series when they scored four centuries on the first day. I have not recovered from that. 657 in 100 overs. And of course, the great thing was they scored 650 in 100 overs. We actually batted for 150 overs. We batted a 50% more than they batted. And yet, still, we were trailing by what, 120 runs after the end of both teams' first innings. England is not a side we've had a great record against. So let's see how it goes. But who are the contenders, you think, to replace Shan as captain? Is it going to be Babar again? Because the rumors seem to be on the side of Rizwan this time.
So yeah, I think they'll be leaning towards Rizwan if it does
His
come to
first
that.
class captaincy record is impeccable. If you look at Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and their
Yeah,
results,
because Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is basically the Australia of Pakistan domestic cricket.
it is,
Anybody
but
who
some
captains them.
credit does need to be given to
Yeah.
Rizwan as well for that. If anything, the winning mentality he's going to bring with the collection of trophies I'm sure Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have amassed by now in the domestic circuit, will it lead to any positive change? In fact, scratch that question. Let's create an alternate universe where everything happens the exact same way, except Babar remains the test captain after 2023 as well. Do you think we would have had any different results against Bangladesh or against Australia?
Against Australia, definitely not. Against Bangladesh, I find it difficult to say that maybe yes, but I wouldn't bet my house on it. Um, yeah, maybe we would have had a better number three, but apart from that, I don't think so. We could do much.
Yeah, I don't think in
Yeah.
Pakistan cricket it's a wise decision to bet your house on anything. Although one perhaps very minor benefit that might have come out of it is if Shan was not captain, I do think Herrera would probably have played a few more test matches by now at the number 3 position, maybe with Sam, I don't know. But I think the time has come for Shan to make way for Herrera. Right then, we've talked.